Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Laura, and on this channel I do book reviews. So to start off with, I thought I recorded this video and uploaded it and everything, but turns out I didn't, so that was a mishap on my part. I apologize. But this is a video on one of my January reads that I was able to finish and everything. For the month of January. Just there was a lot going on, so I again thought I was able to upload this video, but again it was oversight on my part. But I'm hoping that after this I won't have too many more hiccups. So for this one I'm gonna be talking about Pearl's Number by Bethany Atazadeh. And so this is book 2 in the Number series. Book 1 was Evalene's Number, and I read that one last year, and I should have the review up on the channel already, and that will be linked down below for y'all to go see if y'all want to watch it. But like I said, but yeah, so let's get into it. So for this second book of the series, it is only a 2-book series, but I did rate this one a 4-star. I went into this book kind of expecting a bit different setup than what the first book was. So the first book was about Evalene and her whole, I guess, journey to freedom out of the numbering system in her country or her society. This one, I was expecting more of a more behind the scenes story of her mom, whose name is Pearl. And we had found out in book 1 that Evalene's mom, Pearl, was part of a revolution that tried to overthrow the, I guess you can say, president or the governor or, I guess, ruler of their I guess country. And Pearl disappears, and so we find all that out for the most part in book 1, and we all assume she's dead. At the end of book 1 we find out she's alive but is in a different country altogether. And so I was expecting this one to be more of like a jump back during that time and like Pearl's perspective on everything and her journey from going through the rebellion and then escaping and living her life where she was when this book is picked up. And so that's kind of where I was expecting this book to go, but it has actually still for the most part talked through the perspective of Evalene. It does still kind of change every few chapters or so. It still does change perspectives between Evalene and but it did kind of like how the first book is. This one is still kind of, I guess, talked through the perspective of Evalene, and then every few chapters it will change over to the perspective of another character by the name of Jeremy, who we also met in book 1. And this is the story of how Evalene, Jeremy, and their friends trying to go to a country called the Divided States to try and find Pearl, because Evalene thinks that she is still alive and she wants to be reunited with her mom. And so they find out that it's a really rough country where they're trying to go, and there's bandits and human traffickers and that kind of thing. And they realize also that there are human experiments. I don't know how much all I can say here on YouTube, but so I'm gonna try and keep some of those words to a minimum. But anyway, so they go find her. Eventually they get really close to it. But anyways, this book is pretty much the story of them going and trying to find Pearl, and they find out that she got remarried to this guy who actually lives in the Divided States. And Evalene, to a degree, is, I guess, feels betrayed by her mom. But at the same time, she kind of eventually learns to kind of be like, okay, it makes sense. Like, she must have been lonely and all that. So I did overall really like how there was growth and development of the characters overall. I also liked how it wasn't so in your face like the going between the character perspectives. I liked it was like not like every single chapter, but like every like couple chapters, I want to say it was. And I liked how at the beginning of each chapter, I guess like each chapter, if there was a character switch, Atazadeh put the name of the character that the perspective is coming from at the beginning of each chapter. So I really liked that, and it allowed me to not really have that much of a fusion of, oh, whose perspective are we going through now? And so I really liked that. I both like and didn't like this, of how just, the relationship of Evelyn's mom, Pearl, had with the other guy that she ended up marrying, whose name is Noble. I liked how they didn't spend too much time, like, exploring their relationship and everything, and I liked how they did give some context of their relationship, through Noble's perspective of him telling, Evalene about it, but I also kind of wish that they explored it a bit more, I guess. But I think it's also would have been easier to explore that relationship if this book was straight up written from Pearl's perspective, front to back, and her journey through the rebellion and where she had gone to. So I think it would have been easier to explore that relationship that way. But I also think that if that was the route that this book would have taken, I think it would have had to have been like a book 1 instead of the book 2. So I think it was a smart move on Atazadeh's part of not really taking that route of doing Pearl's perspective. But we also see, but all that to say, I did like the fact that she did include a few chapters, like kind of dispersed throughout like the second half of the book of Pearl's perspective. And so Pearl did actually get captured, and so it kind of, those chapters that are like kind of dispersed throughout the second half, is just her being captured and all that and her experience with it. So I think having that part included was really nice, and I did really like that, and like being able to see Pearl and her character and see like who she was outside of Evelyne's perspective and memories. And so Evelyne's friend Olive, who has joined them along with another guy, Soul, who has a crush on Olive, but Olive doesn't like him. She likes another guy. And so one of the things that I kind of wish was to a degree at least talked about was because they had conversations, Evalene and Olive did, of Olive's like relationship with the guy she liked versus her relationship with Soul, and Olive not realizing how much Soul liked her and everything. And so I did kind of wish that there was some sort of, I guess, resolution or mention of, or more in-depth mention of the other guy, Luke, his attitude towards Olive. I know that at some point they did briefly mention that Luke just had, like, he only liked Olive as a friend, but I feel like there could have been something more added to that, like a bit more in depth of that conversation, because they did have this conversation multiple times. Not in depth every single time, but they did have it several times. And so I think that could have been easily done to a degree of just explaining a bit more on like Luke's perspective on Olive's crush on him and all that. And then, but I also really like the way that the author kind of dealt with Soul and Olive and how their relationship kind of grew after Olive was told that Soul liked her and everything. So, but overall, I absolutely love this book, and I do plan on rereading this one along with Evelyne's Number at some point. And so, but again, this was a really good book. I would highly recommend it. But yeah, so that was my review for Pearl's Number by Bethany Atazadeh. Again, I really highly recommend it. If you have read the Divergent series, I know that I read somewhere like a blurb or whatever for this series that fans of that Divergent series would enjoy this one. I have yet to read the Divergent series, so I can't really speak on it myself, but I have watched the movies and I agree with it. it is pretty like on par of it. But yeah, I hope y'all liked this video. If y'all did, please leave a hit the like button, and if you want to see any more book reviews, please subscribe to the channel. And if you have read this book yet or have any other book recommendations, please leave it down in the comment section below. And until next time, guys, bye.